Hey y'all. So I wanted to come on real quick because this crossed my mind and my heart, and I felt I needed to share this with you, okay? Listen, stop putting limitations on God. God is limitless. Stop putting limitations on God and what he can do for you. Listen, we as people, yes, there are limits on what we can physically do by ourselves as human beings. There are limits, right? But God is limitless, okay? There is nothing impossible for God. I need you to really think about that and think about, what have you done that has limited God? See, here's the thing. Faith without works is dead, right? But our hope has to match our faith. Stay with me. Listen. If your faith has limits on it, or you're putting limits on your faith, then you are then putting limits on what God can do for you. You're tying God's hands. Okay? Hopefully this is making sense to you. But God has no limits. Hear me out. God created everything down to the minute, smallest atom. Okay? So if God created everything that exists in the world that we live in now, right? Or he gave people thoughts that became inventive, and then they went out and put the work behind it, and it became a reality. But the thought was placed in their heart and mind to do so by God. I can go forever on that. But here's the thing. God is limitless. So stop putting limits on God. Stop putting limits on what God can do for you. Sometimes, because you put a limit on where you think or how far you think God can go for you or with you in your life, or how far you can go with him in your life, sometimes that's why you're stumped. Sometimes that's why you're stagnant, because you put a limit on God. I encourage you, if you don't have a relationship with God, get a personal relationship with God. Stop relying on listening to the preachers and everything they have to say. Yes, we have to have a preacher to hear what they need to hear what the Lord has to say sometimes. Yes, obviously it is scripture. I get it. But you also need to have a personal relationship with God. You need to know God's voice for yourself. Get a personal relationship with God. Get in your word. Pray. Seek his face so that he can give you direction. Because God has no limits, sometimes some of the things he's going to ask you to do are not going to make a lot of sense in the moment, but obey God when he tells you to do something. I promise you, if you obey him when he tells you to do something, it always works out in your favor. Trust God. Get a relationship with God. Stop putting limitations on God. All right. Y'all know I love you, but I had to share that with you because I feel like that is the reason why many of us are stagnant in certain areas of our life, because we put a limit on what we expect God to do. Stop putting limits on God. Remember, I told you before, God thrives in the impossible, but trust that he's got it and he's going to do this, okay? And keep your faith. All right, I love you. Y'all know I love you. Now go out and make it a great day on purpose. And don't you go messing up nobody else's day, okay? All right, I love y'all. Have a great day. Have an amazing day. All right, love you. Bye.